All right, welcome inside Flames TV Live. It's brought to you by your Alberta Ram dealers. This is where we get you set for round number 2 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's myself and a man that's very familiar with the Battle of Alberta. Good to have you on the desk, Tim Hunter. Fresh back from vacation. This is a perfect way to come back in. Nice little tan, nice little glow, and ready to go for some hockey.
It sure is. And the last time I came to a Flames series, it was Game 1 against Colorado, and I went to Mexico, and I came home, and they were out of the playoffs. So it was a pleasant surprise, but not really a surprise that they won. And I was at Game 1, and to be able to go to Hawaii and watch Game 7, see them win, it's exciting. It's exciting to be back here.
No question, and you can kind of feel it in the city, can't you? I mean, you talk about being there for the Red Lot in game number 1. I know you were out there pumping up the crowd, but maybe just a little different feel around this town, around this province, when these two teams get a chance to meet, not only in the playoffs, but in the second round of the playoffs.
Well, the texts from friends and family and, acquaintances and social media, which is the big wild card in all this. And just driving into Calgary from coming out from Vancouver yesterday, all the flags and all the cars everywhere. It's great.
I mean, does it bring back some memories? Does it feel, I know it's going to be different. I mean, this isn't the 80s, this isn't the early 90s, but just about the excitement level and how, hockey is kind of, I mean, Darryl talked about it a little bit yesterday, just kind of bringing the province together. I know there's two different fan bases cheering for two different teams, but, it is an exciting time, isn't it?
Well, it sure is, and that's what it's all about. We've just gone through COVID. We're slowly coming out of that. The downturn in the economy over the past 4 or 5 years, oil and gas prices starting to creep up. So Alberta's getting excited. Edmonton, Calgary. So back in the playoffs. I think it's great. It's great for hockey. It's great for Alberta. Great for Calgary. Great for Edmonton.
How about the matchup? We'll get to some memories here in just a moment. But what about the matchup? What are you thinking as you take a look at these two teams? Obviously, you get to the second round. It's not by any chance. It's two teams who've earned their way into this spot. What do you make of it?
Well, I've talked earlier about winning a Stanley Cup. You have to go through the playoffs in maybe 3 or 4 different ways to win. And Game 1 was a tough physical series, a little bit of a chess match, close scoring games. I think, Game 1, Series 1. So the second round here is going to be maybe a little bit more scoring, so you're going to have to defend a lot better. Edmonton have some firepower, obviously, with McDavid and Draisaitl. Their power play is very good, so discipline, and they're going to have to buckle down defensively to keep those guys off the board. So you're going to have to play really hard defensively in this series to win games.
By the way, welcome inside. This is a little bit different for Flames TV. This is the morning show version kind of our post-game show, which Tim will be joining us throughout the series as well on that. And I know you'll be out in the Red Lot again here tonight, expecting a big crowd. Sold out in less than 5 minutes, by the way, this morning, the Red Lot ticket. So if you're sitting here thinking, maybe I'll go to the Red Lot, it's too late. You're going to have to find another way. Maybe start your own Red Lot party, but it's going to be packed outside and in tonight. And we're expecting to hear from head coach Darryl Sutter and a couple members of the Calgary Flames here on this morning show version of Flames TV Live. So welcome in. 1991, the last time these two teams met in the playoffs. You've been a part of every single one of those Battles of Alberta, I suppose, the previous versions. What do you remember? What stands out the most? And I know each series takes on a different tone, but just maybe down memory lane, what do you feel like?
Well, obviously in 91, there was no Gretzky, no McSorley, no Coffey. It was fun, no less. But not the violence, not the heavy, the fights, the scrums, the brawls that we had in the early 80s. So a lot less of that. The penalty minutes were probably no more than 40 a game between the two teams, some games 20. I think there was only one fight in the whole series. That was Dave Brown and Jim Kite. Heck of a fight, and I think Jim was on the receiving end of that because Dave was a pretty tough customer. But seesaw back and forth, and it's a shame getting ahead in Game 7 and not winning that series. That probably would have gave us possibly another Stanley Cup, and Edmonton was always in the way.
It's so true, though. I mean, back in those late 80s and the 86 matchup that you guys had, and it was always kind of seemed like, two heavyweights in the entire league, but meeting so early in the playoffs so often. I mean, what were those like when you knew that whoever came out of those had a pretty good chance to go deep?
Well, the mantra was always, we're going to have to beat Edmonton at some point. So we had to learn how to beat Edmonton, learn how to play against Edmonton, learn how to shut down Wayne Gretzky, Anderson, Messier, Coffey, and score on Grant Fuhr. And, you know, as the playoff years go along, you got Bob Johnson and Glenn Sather in 86 when we won. And then it was Doug Riseborough and John Muckler in 91. So different mindsets, different animals. It was fun in 86 with Bob and Glenn Sather. And Bob was all about, you know, we had a goalie dress up like Fuhr in practice with the Oiler jersey on, and we're pumping pucks by this guy to get the karma going, to feel good that we can score on Grant Fuhr because he was so good. So things like that. Bob was ingenious at trying to
trying anything.
Crank up our will to beat Edmonton in any little way he could.
Yeah. Have you ever used that as a coach, that tactic? Maybe a little disguise?
Well, the only one I really used was, you know, when your team's struggling scoring, you know, the net seems so small.
Right.
But when you bring the net into a locker room and you bring it and you put it right in the middle of the locker room and the players are sitting in their chairs and they see that net, it looks huge.
Right.
And so that's your point is, look, boys, the net's a lot bigger than you think. You're all trying to pick perfect little spots to put the puck in. Just shoot at the net because it's really big.
Love that. That's great. All right, let's get some pregame, some morning reaction here as we get set for game number 1 of round 2. I know Johnny Gaudreau just met with the media, so let's listen into what Johnny has to say ahead of game number 1 here between the Calgary Flames and Edmonton Oilers tonight.
Johnny, we keep talking about the first battle of Alberta in 30-plus years. I'm just wondering, like, for you guys, for the players, does this feel different than another playoff series?
I think it's exciting. We're excited to be here. We're excited to move on to round 2, and but you know, at the end of the day, you know, it's another hockey game. It's game 1, and we got to come prepared for that, I think.
There's a healthy amount of respect, I would say. You know, the amount of offense that each side can create. If you're out there against the McDavid line, does your thought process change at all from, you know, generating offense to making sure your own end is taken care of, and what's that balance?
I think just, you know, try to score against them, keep them in their own zone. I think, you know, with Lindy and Chucky, I think we've done a good job throughout the year here with when we do play against, you know, top lines. You know, we just try to hem them in their own zone and try to create offense. And obviously they're going to get their looks, but, you know, I think we've done a good job as a line. You know, just playing well, smart defensively, and, you know, keeping them on the outside and stuff like that. So, if we do play, if we are out against them, I think our line will do a good job.
Would you be happy to give that A back tonight if it meant Stanev was on the blue line?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What does he bring when he's with you guys?
Yeah, he's great. I mean, he's so good defensively down low. He's blocks shots. You know, he's such a good leader on our team. You know, everyone respects him so much in our locker room. So. You know, when he's playing for us, he's such a competitor for us, and he's you know, our top D for a reason.
Were you able to watch any of the Edmonton series versus LA, and if so, anything you've learned from that you'll be able to use to your advantage in this series?
Yeah, I watched a little. Obviously, their power plays pretty insane with those guys, so we got to be good and try to stay out of the box there. You know, those guys can kill you on the power play. So if we can stay out of the box, be smart, and you know, limit their power plays to just a few a game, I think we'll be all right.
Do you read much into what happened between these two teams in the regular series, or is it a regular season series, or is it a bit of a clean slate in your mind?
Yeah, clean slate. We could have beat them 4 times, or they could have beat us 4 times. We're both here, and we're both starting out 0-0 in the series. So.
Can you tell us about the talk behind the scenes? Luch mentioned it a little bit yesterday, but the talk in the room about who might be the next Marty Gelinas, the Eliminator. Yeah,
that was pretty crazy. Obviously, last game was pretty special, but you got to forget about it real quick now and move on and get ready for this series. And hopefully we don't have to put ourselves in that situation again in a Game 7 overtime. Hopefully we can, you know, win it a little earlier, but you know, it's you know, you need guys to step up in games like that, and you know, I had the opportunity to do it last game, and I'm sure if we go back, you know, someone else will do it. So.
How long does it take you to kind of park it what happened and then move on, kind of thing? Where you?
All of my family members just keep texting me every day about it. It's hard. It's hard to forget about it, but you know, they're so excited for me and our team, and you a lot of them are going to have the opportunity to come out and watch a couple games here for round 2. So, we're excited to play again here in the second round here, and my family is too.
In your 9 years, has there ever been a specific moment for you that sort of explained the significance of this rivalry to people who live in this province?
I think maybe just my first season and preseason game. I didn't expect how wild it was. There might have been fights in the stands and this and that, and people going crazy, and people walking around the city with jerseys on, and it was just preseason. So I think that's when I first, got a real taste of, how special this rivalry is, and how excited the fans get in, each city. So it's a special rivalry, and it's great to be a part of it.
John, what does the series come down to? How is it won and lost?
I think for us, smart defensively against their top guys. Can't give them those line rushes. Stay out of the box for sure. That's a big one for us. Can't give their guys opportunities to get on the power play. You saw how dangerous they were all year long, and in their last series too. So, and then if we play 5-on-5, I think we'll be all right. I think we're a really good team 5-on-5. We roll 4 lines, and everyone contributes offensively, and guys are good in their own zone. And Markey's always playing well back there. Got to play well in front of him, but I think just stick to 5-on-5 will be all right.
Not a lot of offense, obviously, in the Dallas series. It was exciting in other ways, but do you see this one opening up a little bit more?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think we had a lot of good opportunities. I just think, their goaltender kept a lot of the games low-scoring games. So did ours. I mean, they had some good opportunities too, and I think our both goaltenders were just, crazy in that series, and it led to games tightening up in the third period when it's a 1-goal game. So, but early in those games, I think goaltenders played well and kept the series, the low-scoring series.
You've Gaudreau played that well. You can't probably thinking there can't be another goalie play as well as him.
Yeah.
You've been through that, and you've managed to win the series. So is that what you're thinking? Nobody could play as well as he did.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he was crazy. He was so good in net there, and I think it gave us a little momentum if we do run into a goalie like that again, just kind of stick with it. And obviously we had our looks and found ourselves down in a few games and just kind of stuck with it, and found a way to come back and win those games. And I think that really helped our team out a little bit in last series. And if we do run into a goalie like that, I think we'll be well prepared for it.
Johnny, usually a player of your stature that is going to be UFA after the season is a pretty big story. You go back to Tavares and Stamkos. Bit of a gong show in both those situations in terms of the attention and the questions. Why do you think you've been able to manage it in a different way here this year, where it doesn't seem to be a distraction, doesn't seem to be a recurring storyline?
Yeah, I just told myself coming in the year, I didn't want to, deal with all that stuff throughout the whole year. I wanted to focus on this team and help this team win games and try to get back to the playoffs and worry about that first. And we tried to figure something out in the beginning of the year. It didn't happen, and right from day one in training camp, I said, let's just focus on hockey. I don't want to be talking to my agent every day. I said, don't leave me alone. But he still calls me after games and stuff like that. So just to, pick my brain about, the game and stuff. But, I just wanted to, focus on this team and help this team win games. And I think it's really helped me this year.
Your linemate Matthew Tkachuk has been at the center of this rivalry on a couple of different occasions. Just what could his impact be, the type of player he is? What type of impact can he make in such a heated series?
Yeah, he's, a huge part of our team. He, gets involved in the game emotionally. He's a skilled player. He's a smart player, and he's got that grit and grind to him too. So, he's a guy you want on your team every day, and pisses other teams off. So that's a guy you want on your team. And every game he shows up, he's excited, he's ready to go, and just a great teammate for our team. And he's done such a good job this year. So it's been a lot of fun playing with him this year.
Okay, we're going to wrap up, Johnny. Darryl's on his way. Thank you very much.
All right, welcome back to the Flames TV desk. Here's Dillon Dube stopping in on the morning of game number 1, round 2, Edmonton Oilers. Maybe just first, let's get kind of your thoughts as that first round series, to come through it the way you guys did, and just sort of the confidence you take now into this round.
Yeah, it was good for sure. I think start off with a 7-game series, overtime. Builds confidence in our group. It was a battle. It was good for us to come on top, and now you kind of have to park that. We're playing a different team, so it's it's a different mindset. They're a good team over there, so it's it's going to be another series like that. It's going to be a battle for sure. So we're all excited for it.
I mean, do you feel like you do take a lot away, though, in terms of just the experience? And I know 7 games, there's a lot of guys that hadn't been through a 7th game in terms of the Stanley Cup playoffs as well. But, just in terms of the experience and how that can kind of translate now and take it forward.
Yeah, I think just building off of it, I think getting in those key moments, for our top guys step up the way they did, I think that gives them a lot of confidence, and our group a lot of confidence going forward. So, I think you take things, you take the positives, and there's still things that you take that you need to work on. So it's it's good for us for confidence wise, and nice to come out come through in those big moments for our team.
No question. And I mean, we saw some excitement, obviously, in this building, Game 7, but it seems like both cities now, Edmonton and Calgary, this province is kind of vibrating right now. Are you getting a sense of that as you kind of sense what everything's going on in this province?
Yeah, it's going to be great. I think it's really good for the province here, and there's going to be a lot of jerseys, whichever color they pick. But no, it's good for the whole province here, and exciting for the players. I know both teams are excited about that, and we're going to take a lot of pride in which city we're from for sure, and try and win for our city, because it's very competitive, and we really like this. I know they like it, so it's cool. There's not much to say about it. It's hard to explain.
No, it totally is, and I feel like there's an element of we don't really know, because it's been 31 years. I mean, you weren't even born yet. I think I was just a kid. We got Tim Hunters over here. We were just talking about some of those memories. I know you got some history there, but just is it hard? It's kind of hard to define in some ways, right? We just have to kind of embrace these moments.
Yeah, like I said, I've never been alive for one, so. If I think Tim Hunter can answer that better. But seeing like just the highlights, the atmosphere, and even the way the city is right now, it's it's hard to explain the way it's going to be, and it's just exciting. I know every guy's looking forward just even to get in the rink tonight.
Well, and just lastly before we let you go and prepare for Game 1, but just the idea about making sure that you're prepared mentally for that, the energy, all those types of things, but about the competition and what you guys have to do on the other side. It's a good team, we know that.
Yeah, they're a good team. They're very fast off transition. They play the right way. They've been one of the best teams record-wise towards the end of the year. So we got a good challenge here coming up, and we have to stick to what we can do and play our game. But we know how good of a team they are for sure. So we need to be at our best.
Appreciate the time. All the best tonight. Enjoy it.
Awesome. Thank you.
There's Dillon Dube, head of game number 1. Let's listen in to head coach Darryl Sutter now at the podium.
Well, you like consistency from your players, so we'll give you a consistent question. How's Chris Tanev feeling, and is he option tonight?
He's feeling great.
Anything else?
Darryl, what do you think you learned from your team being pushed to the brink like that by a goalie especially, but your team sticking with it and sticking with what they had to do to get through that?
Yeah, I think there wasn't really highs and lows during the series. I think it was just more teams that had the lead. So you just got to stick with it. Really simple. I think we came from behind 3 times in the series and won 2 of them. So, it was a close series. It was, as I said after, the score was 15-14.
Johnny was out here talking about the importance of keeping it even, not allowing the others to go on the power play. Can you talk about how tough that discipline will be to manage with the emotions of this rivalry?
Well, I think as playoffs go along, it's not just on this series. That's in every series if you watch every series and break it down. It's 5-5 is critical to teams winning.
Darryl, you've been around for a while now. As a player, as a coach, as many things. You've seen a lot. Do you still get excited by what's happening now and what's going to happen for the next few weeks?
Yeah, I mean, you get to think how big the league is now with 32 teams and how difficult it is to make the playoffs. So then you cut it in half right away. And then you get to 8. So there's a quarter of the teams left playing, and if you're fortunate enough to be one of those teams, it's exciting.
You get nervous before games like you would when you were a player as a coach?
I don't think nervous is the right word. you just sort of get anxious ready. I think watch best part is watch the players. You know, when you have those breaks between series, you want them to have their break, right? Because there's always, you know, some mental and physical that they got some regroup there, and then the guys are banged up. You want them to get as much time as you can. But then when you get closer to the game, then you start seeing how guys react differently. So that's kind of the fun part. You learn lots about your players. I mean, hey, both teams got lots of guys that haven't been in the second round or won second rounds, and so you see how they handle it too.
Do you remember being nervous like days with like in the past years?
Yeah, it's not nervous.
Never.
No, it's not. That's not the right way. I mean, you're ready for the game, but it's not a nervous, like a scared nervous. It's not that.
Were you scared nervous as a player?
Probably. I mean, that's 35 years ago.
Darryl, your team did a good job of getting out of the gate quick and scoring first during the regular season. How have you liked your starts in the playoffs, and where do you think that quality came from this year?
Yeah, I think it came from the importance of players understanding more about their preparation and their maturity and their professionalism in terms of coming to the rink, being ready, and then not always having to score the first goal to have a good game. Right? That's a really important attribute for young players, I think.
Darryl, you talked after Game 7 and throughout the first round series about really liking Johnny's game. What specifically stood out for you about the way he played against Dallas?
Played like he was a mature player. It didn't bother him the checking didn't bother him. It didn't bother him that he missed a chance. And then, you play to your skill set. He scores the overtime goal to win the series, but really the biggest goal of the series might have been the penalty shot goal. He'd missed the breakaway the night before. Prior to that, and that was the headline. I was supposed to teach Johnny how to score on breakaways, right? That was the question. But then he scores in the penalty shot to give you a 2-0 lead, which is, in that game, it's a huge game. It's a turning point in the series. That's what good players do.
You talk about maximizing a skill set. What can Matthew Tkachuk bring to this series with his skill set?
He's a playoff-type player. Should be lots of traffic and play with discipline and play his game. It's not about individuals. It's about lines and pairs and fives and sixes.
There's a lot of talk about Tkachuk, a lot of talk about Gaudreau, but Elias Lindholm is a finalist for the Selke Trophy. Is this the perfect stage for him to prove that he has the value to be there as much as Patrice Bergeron or O'Reilly or Barkov?
Well, that's a regular season award.
Do you feel like there's another level your team can still hit just in terms of performance in this series?
Well, if we don't, then we won't win. I mean, I'm not saying it because we're playing Edmonton, but they have 2 Hart trophies and Hart Ross trophies and things like that. So, and we don't. So that means that we have players that have to elevate their game. It's really not that hard to figure out when you think about it.
Do you think you're the underdog in this series?
Pardon?
Do you think you're the underdog in this series?
Yeah, you know what? I love that underdog stuff. Yeah, we're the underdog. Edmonton's saying they're the underdog. I love that stuff, right? I mean, so I love it. I think the best part is that you talk about the underdogs, and well, quite honest, in July and August and September, it was, the Flames were like 6th or 7th in their division, and then in December and January, that's what everybody was saying about Edmonton, and now they're both in the second round. So it just tells you that the white noise and the bullshit is just that.
They've been loading up McDavid quite a bit early in games and just kind of throwing him out there every other shift. So how confident are you in all of your pairings on the blue line that whoever might end up out there against them can manage it early?
They got to raise the level of their game. That's a pretty honest answer, I think.
Welcome back. We just heard from head coach Darryl Sutter there, and just interesting to note the underdog story, because I think everybody's laying claim to that right off the bat. It's or at least everyone's projecting who's the underdog this or the underdog. I don't know that we could maybe say balance both sides, but is there an underdog in this series? I don't know. Can you have one?
I don't think so. You know, Edmonton has probably one of the best players in all of hockey, and probably two of the top 5 players in all of hockey.
Yeah.
And Calgary's a collection of great players and a great team. And so it's a great team against a high-end offensive pair, some good defensemen, and, you know, it's going to be the will of the front of each net.
Yeah, and just to further that, as you were just describing, I mean, you know, that's where these games come down to. How do you get into those areas where you score goals? And in playoff time, as we just talked about, how hard it was to score in that first round series, Calgary and Dallas. You know, that's how you have to find them and control those areas.
Yeah, and your best players aren't going to score every night. You know, it's a collection of the team. Who's going to what are you contributing to help the team win?
Yeah.
Are you playing great defensively? Are you doing the right things along the boards, get pucks in, pucks out, pucks to the net, and then making the other team defend in front of their net and not letting them get to the front of your net? So it's will. Do you want to do it? Are you willing to do it? And I think Calgary, in my mind, has the body of work that they've done it.
Yeah.
And Edmonton's heading in that direction, but I don't think they've perfected it as much as Calgary has.
When you take a look at, you know, obviously Darryl Sutter, you know, he's got that experience and he's been through these types of games before, these series, and obviously has gone deep into the playoffs and won 2 Stanley Cups. I mean, are you starting to see, and I guess we have throughout the course of this year, but this team has the Darryl Sutter identity, is that fair to say?
Yes, and the biggest part of that is how calm he is and how calm the team is. So now you're going to ratchet things up a little bit more. The media, the social media, more pressure on both teams. And I just look at Darryl in his news conference. He's relaxed. He's calm.
Yeah.
No big deal. It's just a hockey game.
Yeah.
We've been through this before, guys. We're going to go out and do the same things. Yeah. Don't get carried away. Don't get over excited. Ride that fence. Ride that fine line.
Yep.
And don't go over. And that's, you know, they've taken on his mentality of being nice and calm and reserve. And you can't be too excited and too down either way.
And that's part of the preparation, right? You prepare for that. You've gone through that all season, and trying to ride those 82-game ups and downs and just trying to weather them as they come and preparing, right?
And that's process. Stick to the process, what you've done all year to get to where you are now. And it's whether you need a big goal. They've always been able to get that opportunity. And the big guys come through in the end. You know, everyone's talking about, Gaudreau and Tkachuk, they haven't scored in the Dallas series. When are they going to score? Well, again, like I said, your best players aren't scoring every night.
Yep.
But they came through at the right time, and big game players. Tkachuk's a big game player, so is Johnny. And that's important. They had the foot soldiers get them to that point, get them to Game 7, get them in an opportunity, put them in a position to win, and everyone contributed.
And then deliver in Game 7. And you said Matthew Tkachuk, he had that big goal in Game number 7. He had a big night as well. The assist on the Johnny Gaudreau game winner. Let's hear from him ahead of Game number 1 when it comes to the Edmonton Oilers and Calgary Flames.
Matthew, I'm sure you've heard all the hype going on around about the series. Just how are you feeling heading into Game number 1?
Yeah, very excited. Been, I wouldn't say dreaming, but obviously this has been in the back of my mind ever since I've been drafted here, however long ago it was. So pretty cool. That's the first time in 30-plus years that I just found out yesterday, so pretty cool.
Has your dad told you some stories about what this rivalry was like in the day?
I've heard plenty of stories from other people. He didn't play in it, but the rest of the people I've seen every, big playoff series goal. I think the Fleury one sticks out. I don't know, saw that one on a loop yesterday, it seemed like. So very cool rivalry and cool to do it in playoffs.
What's it like as a player, knowing you're about to play in a Battle of Alberta? Like when you see Fleury or whatever, whatever highlights you have seen, what goes through your mind as you watch those?
just big moments in NHL history. But I think for me, I mean, I didn't really grow up in this rivalry or didn't grow up in Alberta, so I'm serious when I say that I didn't know about it until I got drafted. So, obviously it's gotten bigger the last few years, and with both teams playing a lot better and, maybe meeting each other in playoffs, and here we are.
You've seen how this rivalry has grown in the regular season. Do you have an expectation of how that gets ramped up when it's playoffs and it's everything on the line?
I do not. We'll see what happens out there, but it should be good hockey.
Matthew, what does this series come down to? When you look at how is this won and how is this lost, maybe one thing, where does this come down to between you?
I think that from our team's perspective, we've played really well 5-on-5 this year and played really well 5-on-5 the last series. And I think earlier in the series, we seemed like most of the game was either power play or penalty killer, 4-on-4. And we're a very deep team, and I think that we've got one of the best goaltenders in the league, and we saw both in our series and their series how important goaltending was. So that's a big part. Specialty teams are huge, and but I think for us, if we can keep it 5-on-5, that is kind of the way we want to keep it.
They roll McDavid out there some nights 24, 27 minutes, whatever. How do you feel about your group's ability to limit him, kind of whoever might be out there against him if he's going to play that much?
Yeah, if he plays that much, he's going to be playing against everybody. So that's, he's obviously, built pretty different and can play those minutes. And it's going to take all of us to play hard against him and make him play in his zone and limit him.
When you look at the team's performance as a whole against Dallas, 100 shot attempts plus in one game against a lesser goalie, the score, who knows what it could have been. But do you feel like this group can hit another level as it gets deeper in playoffs?
Hope so. I think that the way we've trained, the way we've practiced, the way we've played, and the way our team's built, I think that, I said it last year, I think we could be a team that gets better as it goes along. So hopefully we can prove that to each other.
Yeah, Johnny talked about how for him the Battle of Alberta opening moment was a preseason game where there's like a fight in the stands. You've been a part of plenty. Like, what stands out to you having played this team so much during your career?
My first memory was the new rink, first game in the new rink in Edmonton, and sold out for warm-ups. Or everybody was in their seats for warm-ups. I thought that was pretty crazy. And as I'm skating out onto the ice, I don't remember it perfectly, but it was like Gretzky and Messier were out there, like doing a few laps or something. And I was like, oh my God, I'm 18 years old. I don't know if I'm ready for this. So, but just had to get that game under my belt, and yeah, that was my first memory.
You mentioned the draft a couple times. Did someone mention something to you about it there, or did you just know that's what it sort of meant to wear that jersey?
Yeah, I think it was just kind of right after that. Just realized. I know Edmonton and Calgary picked pretty much right after each other, right near each other. So I had a good idea I was going to one of the two. So once you go to the one place, the other, the other team's the rivalry and vice versa. So, but I didn't know too much about it before.
So you talk about starting in this thing when you're 18. All you guys have grown up here, playing each other a bunch of times. David's now 25, and he's done this for a while. You've done it for a while. Do you, as you mature and you play against each other all the time in these games, does there personal relationships on the ice? I'm not saying you're out there shaking hands, but do you get to know each other as players more?
Not really. I've trained in Toronto, for a couple of years, so I got to know Connor a little bit there, and obviously a few of their teammates, or a few of guys on their team I was teammates with at one point, but yeah, not too worried about the personal relationships when it comes down to playoff hockey.
Is your brother still here?
He is here, yeah.
Still hyped like he was there?
I hope so. He'll, I don't know. We'll see. I haven't seen him all day, so I'm sure they're doing something. Hopefully he is. It's pretty hard not to get excited for this type of game. I think the whole family, everybody's here, so they're all super jacked up for it.
Did we find out who that kid was that it was on his shoulders there?
No, I don't think. No. I'm surprised his parents let him go on Brady's shoulders. Yeah. I think that was just, I don't know, kind of just spur of the moment thing.
Think Johnny's uncle might be able to give Brady a run for his money in terms of riling up the crowd?
We'll see. I don't know. Crowd here was the best I've ever seen in the last game. So, whoever was getting the crowd going, I think there was 20,000 of them that were all had a big part in it. So, they're gonna be great for us again this series, and we rely on them a lot. And they were awesome last year's, and I expect it to get better as it goes along.
You obviously know Mike Smith pretty well from his time here. Who has the advantage in a situation where you were teammates? Is it the goalie or is it the shooter?
I have no idea. I don't know. Probably. I don't know. It's been a while since we played together, so I myself, I kind of forget where I would shoot in practice and that stuff. I think it's just more, I don't know, find a spot, shoot, hope it goes in. I don't know. You'd have to ask him.
Matthew, we've seen Chris Tanev skate a couple days in a row now. If he is able to go, what's the significance to your team of having him in the lineup?
Well, he does it all for us. He's obviously a great player and does a lot on the ice, but I think what separates him from basically everybody is his leadership off the ice and just in the locker when he speaks. Everybody stops what they're doing and listens, and he's been a huge part of us and kind of rebuilding our team and our mindset and becoming the team we are now with how close we are and the way we play, the style, and he's been probably the biggest part for that.
You mentioned that it's the loudest you've ever heard it in here. I mean, same for me at least. It actually, like, the noise rattles the laptops of where we are. But when you're on the bench, do you notice it? Like, do you feel any kind of, like, can you hear the boards going behind you, or do you notice anything just different when you're on the bench when it's that loud?
No, just I know the coaches have the iPads on the bench, so maybe you should ask them about the if those are shaking. But for myself, it's just it's exciting to play. I thought last year is that both our rink and Dallas's rink were super loud, and it doesn't matter if you're home or on the road. It's a fun environment to play in.
All right, there is Matthew Tkachuk kind of concluding our coverage of the morning skate here, and optional for the Calgary Flames as they get ready for Game 1, Round 2 against the Edmonton Oilers. And, obviously, the questions, there's a big media conglomerate, as you could expect, as everybody comes in for the Battle of Alberta. And probably similar to what you guys experienced, right? I mean, I think that back in all those prior meetings, there was a big focal point across the country. Would that be fair to say?
Oh, no question. It was great. But, like we mentioned earlier here, the worldwide weight, the internet is the wild card. And, seeing Washington Post post articles about the Battle of Alberta. Who would have thunk that?
No kidding, eh?
And just all the banter, the airways between Calgary and Edmonton, back and forth. Red Deer is going to have this dump of information going past them all series long here.
Yeah, the cell phone towers.
All the banter and the tweets and that. The only tweets were on the ice, and they were chirps at ice level when we played in '91.
Right. Yeah, that's right. There were no chirps. There were no tweeting back then. But and there will be some of that too. There'll be some chirping on the ice, I'm sure. But the social media is definitely. I know you said it off the top. It is the wild card of this series, to be sure. I mean, hey, listen, it's going to be a lot of fun. I think these are two really good teams. Is there one thing that you're watching for early on in this series? Anything that stands out? We've talked about some of the keys from both teams, but just something that you're kind of looking for early on to one way or another.
Maybe to see who's going to be nervous and who's not going to be nervous, and which team plays their game the quickest, gets to the game the quickest. Yeah. And momentum is a big thing in playoff hockey, period to period, game to game. So momentum and teams that look relaxed and look in a groove early.
Well, it's been a lot of fun having you on this morning, and I know we're going to get your insight throughout the course of the playoffs and back and around, and looking forward to the Red Lot tonight, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I was there for Game 1, and it was about 2/3 full, and I watched as the series went along. It's just jam full now, so I better have a big stack of autograph cards for tonight.
That's right. The cards, the photos, get that smile ready, right?
Yeah. Well, I had a better tan than I had a week and a half ago, so that's all good, too.
And apparently the sun's going to be shining. I mean, I know weather in Calgary can be a little bit, check 5 minutes from now, but it says sunny, 15 degrees or somewhere in there. So no excuses. I think it'll be rowdy tonight.
Yeah, good weather, warm weather, lots of beer drank out there for
That's right.
for the fans.
Stay hydrated, everybody. We can't wait for it. Game number 1 of round 2. The Battle of Alberta resumes for the first time since April of 1991 in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and it comes your way at 7:30 tonight. Game 1 between the Flames and Oilers right here at the Scotiabank Saddledome. We'll be back with you tonight and on the postgame show here as well. But look forward to puck drop, which will be probably a little bit closer to 8 if we're being honest. But enjoy the game, everyone, and on we go. Thanks for watching Flames TV Live.